By the orb of Agamotto, it's time to dive into the magical history of Wong, Doctor Strange's friend and servant, because this geek history lesson is now in session. Hello and welcome to Geek History Lesson. I'm Jason Green Tunic Inman.
I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson. Welcome to your Mind University, because you have stumbled onto the podcast where we take one character, construct, or magic wielder from popular culture and teach you everything you need to know about them in about an hour.
Yes, and today's person or character or construct is Wong. Now, why are we talking about Wong, Ashley?
He's a sorcerer supreme in one form of media.
In one universe, yes. He's not currently the Sorcerer Supreme in comic books, so there are no spoilers for this lesson. Ashley did not spoil the lesson here, everybody. Don't worry about that.
No, but he's the Sorcerer Supreme in the movie.
Yes, I know. Yeah. On an offhanded panel in a Spider-Man movie, which it would be interesting to see if they keep that going. But we're talking about that because we're talking about all kinds of weird things, which is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is coming. It's like a train right around the bend. We can hear its magical whistle. And also because something called Marvel Year is coming over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Jawiin. That's a Jawiin. So, if you're interested in some Marvel Year stuff, enjoying 3 extra podcasts a month and so on, you might want to buckle up for that over at our Patreon. So, I don't know. Ashley, any hints you want to give anybody about Marvel Year?
We're starting with Doctor Strange.
I don't even understand what that means, and I know what Marvel Year is. What do you mean?
The first sort of thing that we're covering has to deal with Doctor Strange.
Yes, there you go. Okay, see, it was so subliminal that even Ashley knew what it was. So Ashley, actually, today's lesson wasn't suggested by any of our listeners.
Rude.
We did, however, because Wong is kind of a deep dive. Wong is he's not a title character in Marvel Comics. He is a side character. He's a supporting character. So we did bring a research assistant along with us to help on this episode. Today's episode was provided with some extra research by Diego Nunez. So I want to thank Diego. He is our research assistant for this episode, our very first one, and we really want to thank him for that. So let's get to the podcast on Wong. Let's get to Wong's 10-cent origin. What is that, Ashley?
That is the first part of the podcast where we tell you all of the basics, who's its and what's its galore, in case you go to a Doctor Strange themed cocktail party and somebody doesn't know who the current MCU Sorcerer Supreme is.
Yes, but let's couch that because we're not going to talk about MCU Sorcerer Supreme.
I just wanted to bring that up because this character started off as probably a not completely racially sensitive manservant, and I think it's cool that through time and people opening their eyes a little bit, like now he's arguably the most powerful magic wielder in the MCU. I think that's amazing.
I agree. This lesson's gonna only be on the comic books, everybody. If you want to know about the MCU, just go watch the movies. He's in 3 of them. Okay. Published by Marvel Comics, Wong's first appearance was in Strange Tales number 110 in July of 1963. He was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. His species is human. His team affiliations have been the Midnight Suns and the New Avengers. And of course, he's a supporting cast member of Doctor Strange. He has had some aliases like Kato, Pajama Boy, and Wong Shot. I'm not going to bring any of those up. You might know why. Anyways, his abilities are he has a mastery of magic and sorcery. He's a skilled martial artist in several different techniques, and he can also do some mighty fine teleportation. And he has been portrayed in other media by Clyde Kusatsu, I'm going to mispronounce that name, in the 1978 TV movie Doctor Strange. Yes, there was a TV movie. He was portrayed by George Takei as the voice in Spider-Man, the animated series in the 1990s.
Great choice.
Paul Noguchi in the 2007 animated film Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. And of course, we know him as Benedict Wong is portraying him in the MCU, as Ashley has been saying, as the Sorcerer Current Supreme.
Benedict Wong also deserves a lot of credit for the personality that I think most people really enjoy and ascribe to Wong.
All right, now, Ashley, let's get to the Meet Cute.
Yeah, which is where we talk about how we first meted and cuted these characters. Jason's is going to be way more interesting than mine. So, Jason, where did you first meet Wong?
Mine is not going to be more interesting than yours. I literally did not meet Wong until Doctor Strange The Oath, which is a Brian K. Vaughan story that we'll briefly talk about. I just kind of always knew that he was Doctor Strange's manservant. I don't have any other meet cute with this character at all. But somebody that does have an interesting meet cute is because Diego did some research for us. We decided to include his meet cute as well.
Ooh, cool.
So these are from the words of Diego. I'm almost positive it was from Geek History Lesson.
Yay!
When I got back into comics in 2015, I was a DC Comics guy that was mostly familiar with Batman, Superman, and their adjacent characters. I knew little of anything Marvel aside from X-Men and Spider-Man. And when expanding my comic book knowledge, GHL was definitely one of those key contributions to learn about characters I didn't know about, especially if it was Doctor Strange related. Now, Ashley, let's see. Are you going to be the trifecta on this, or are you going to have an interesting Wong story?
I don't.
Where did you first meet Wong?
I first met Wong in The Oath, which I read right before you and I went to see an early screening of Doctor Strange for Collider Heroes. The great John Schnepp got us into that because we were not originally invited to it. And I had not read a Doctor Strange story, and you recommended The Oath to me because you were like, it's the easiest, most compact. It's why we always recommend The Oath to new. There's more options now, but at that time it was the best. And that was the first time I met Wong, and then in the movie. So yeah, trifecta of nowhere really. Sorry,
well,
Wong.
it's like a lot of Silver Age characters that we don't.
It's also like a lot of sporting characters.
Yes, there you very much go. Okay, so let's get to the History 101.
The main meat of the lesson where Professor Jason is going to break down Wong, and we're going to give him all the flowers that he deserves because he's actually pretty great.
So basically, overall, Ashley, what you need to know about Wong is that he has a deep sense of loyalty. He is very, very loyal, which, for better or worse, sometimes makes Doctor Strange his best friend, and it sometimes makes Doctor Strange his worst enemy. And you need to keep that in mind for this lesson. But I thought there would be no better example to teach this theme to you, Ashley, than to have a very special guest call into the podcast. So in a few seconds, would you please pick up the phone, Ashley?
Sure.
And talk to our very, very special. It was a hard time getting this person.
Okay.
I could not believe he could fit us in his schedule. But here we go.
Hello?
Hello, Ashley.
Who's this?
Doctor Strange, Dr. Stephen Strange calling you. Well, I used to be the Sorcerer Supreme, and on the continuity of this podcast, but I'm not anymore. So, fun fact, you're going to be my manservant for today, my woman servant.
I absolutely will not.
Yeah, you are. Sorry. Your co-host signed you up. He used blood on the Fatomsh contract. Almost couldn't pull that word out. And you are working for me for 24 hours because Wong needs the day off. He's going to Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Yes. He loves the Haunted Mansion. Go figure. Kind of makes sense, right, when you think about it. So, Ashley, I have a list for you.
Sure.
I need you to pick up my dry cleaning. Yes.
What do you dry clean?
The cape, of course. And my little fairy boots. Then I need you to go buy Dawn dish soap, specifically Dawn dish soap. I don't want any other Dawn dish soap. I've never washed dishes before. Apparently there's a lot in the kitchen and the Sanctum Sanctorum. Then I need you to run down to Texas Piggly Wiggly Grocery, go into the back room, find the Spice of Saltor. Now be careful. If you breathe the Spice of Saltor, it will kill you and possibly everybody in a 50-mile radius. So just don't drop it. Don't shake it around. Actually, you should probably use tongs with that and then have a, what those motion stabilizers they have for cameras. You should probably put the spice on those and just, walk around and be very careful with it.
Okay.
Yes. And then I'm going to need you to go to my grandmother's birthday party and dress up as me, act like you're Stephen Strange, tell her you love her, and then, bring me the, pigs in blankets because she makes amazing pigs in blankets. but I'm not going to that. You're going to that as me. And I'll need all of this done by 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, all right?
I'm at least a foot shorter than you, I will point out.
I don't think she'll notice.
Okay, sure. I think I can get that done.
Oh, and then I will need you, I will need you to, as well, Ashley. I don't know. I have nothing else. I need that by 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
Great.
Good. Wait. Do you know, as being my manservant, that you will have to connect all your bank accounts to my bank accounts, and then I will have to make a consistent transfer of funds. They'll start out at 10 cents, then it'll go up to 13 cents, and then it'll go up to like $1 million. So that is going to happen today, too.
Can I get that in strange coin?
No. I need that in Uncle Sam dollars.
Uncle Sam dollars.
Yes.
That's clever because it's USD.
Yes, that's correct. All right, so 3 a.m. tomorrow. I will need all that, and I look forward to it. You have a high standard to live to.
I have to say,
What? Sorry, what? I have to go fight a demon right now. I cannot talk to any of you more. I'm sorry, Ashley. I'm busy.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Wow.
So that's a little bit of what
Well, I
it's
guess
like.
I'm leaving this podcast.
You have a lot of errands to go do.
I do.
All right, so let's get into the history of specifically Wong. Now, just to let you know, Wong is a descendant and a lookalike of Khan, who is a Chinese monk who lived roughly 1,000 years ago, who was a student of the occult. Now, Wong is from the Kamartag family of monks. So before we get into Wong's history, I want to talk a little bit about Khan, because it's going to explain a lot about Wong.
Okie dokie.
Now, and of course, it's like all these comic booky things, right, where the ancestor looks exactly like the descendant.
Yep.
Star Trek's pulled it off with Data. It's a little bit. This is sort of a retcon that they've done into history.
I mean, it does happen a little bit in real life, but you're usually not an exact copy.
Yes. He's an exact copy.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So let's talk about Khan. Khan devoted his life to the forces of good. And one day, Khan found a strange temple lured by its reputation of being haunted. Now, while exploring it, he was compelled to go through a black mirror into the other dimensional realm. Now, I don't know about you, Ashley, but if I see a black mirror, I don't think I've seen enough science fiction at this point that I would not walk through it. That means the mirror dimension, the evil dimension, or just something bad.
Or the Matrix.
Yes, or the Matrix, fair. Now, Khan crosses over and meets Lord Jawiin, king of Suradar, and his sister princess, Xialmar, and their court magician, Wong. Now, Khan is told that the Wizard Kings rule this other dimensional realm with oppression and slavery. And Lord Jawiin tries to convince Khan to lead his people into battle against the Wizard Kings. Now, Princess Xialmar and Khan, they spend the day together. They talk about Wizard Kings and black mirrors, and they start to fall in love. And during their walk, a demon is sent to attack the couple by court magician Wong, and to give Khan the false assumption that attacks are everywhere and the war has begun. So Khan protects himself, he saves the princess, and then he gets riled up and he decides I'm going to join Xiaomar, I'm going to join King Jahan, and we're going to gather an army and we're going to take down these Wizard Kings, because the ruse worked. Ultimately, Khan led his forces to a complete victory over the Wizard Kings, and all but one of them were killed. Now, Khan is heartsick by this, because he had to kill lots of people to do this. Innocent children were in this. Basically, it was a very, very bloody battle. And after the victory is won, that's when Wong, the court magician, reveals himself that this was all a plan for him to become the last Wizard King so he could rule this land unopposed. Wong captures both Khan and Xiaomar, and he prepares to sacrifice them to a demonic race that he serves called the Nagarai to gain incredible power and immortality. Now, Xiaomar, his love, in an attempt to stop Wong and save Khan, she gave the Nagari her own soul in exchange for all the power to steal it from Wong. The Nagari consented, and they transformed Xiaomar into the Shadow Queen, a sorceress with great mystical power and no capacity for love. The Shadow Queen slew Wong, and then, as her last act, sent Khan back to China, back to outside the mirror. Now, Khan was haunted by these actions. And so he decided that he needed to devote his entire life to atone for these actions. And he enacted a penance on himself and decreed that this penance would be carried out by his descendants for 10 generations. And so all of his descendants, to make up for this mistake by Khan, they all served the Ancient One, who is the sorcerer supreme of the Earth dimension. And his legacy was that his firstborn male descendants would continue to honor and fight for all that was good. Now, Ashley, I want to ask you, this is the story of Khan. What do you think about this storytelling trope of families serving a penance or a legacy over time? Because it's very similar to Alfred and Batman and the legacy that the Pennyworth families had to serve to the Wayne family.
I have one quick question before I answer.
Yes, about Khan?
Is it spelled Khan?
No.
How's it spelled?
Kan.
Okay, good. Because I was going to be like, not them picking an Indian name for a Chinese character.
No.
Okay, great.
Then, I might be mispronouncing that. I might be mispronouncing a lot of things. I tried to research all of these names, but...
we're not native Chinese speakers. It might shock you.
Yeah, so I want to apologize. And I found... all the other names I was able to find, I was not able to find Khan. So I'm assuming that that's how you say it. But let's talk about familial tropes and legacies and penances.
So I think it's a convenient way to have us okay with servants because most of the people reading comic books don't have servants. I'm not saying that. I don't think like Prince Harry or Prince William have never cracked a comic book in their life, but I'm just saying I think most people...
What comic book do we think they've read?
I don't think William actually read because I don't think he's any fun.
All our United Kingdom listeners are the Commonwealth listeners.
We all know Harry is both the hotter and more interesting prince.
I bet you Harry's read a Spider-Man.
I think he's probably read some of your top tier characters.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but back to familial legacies.
Yeah. So I think it's really a shorthand for us to be like, oh, it's totally okay that Batman is utterly disrespectful to Alfred because he's his servant and he swore to and he wants to be.
And Doctor Strange, you're going to learn in this lesson, is quite disrespectful to Wong in many places.
Well, that's also racism.
Yeah,
if we're going to be completely frank about it, because when you were describing Wong at the beginning of this episode, and I'm not saying that those descriptors aren't true. But the idea of like loyalty and honor and duty, while they are, and I'm saying this as a white person, deeply steeped in Eastern traditions, it's also a very Hollywood lens of how Eastern cultures operate.
I agree.
Which is why I was kind of harping on the film version because they've reformed a little bit of that. But overall, I think it's a trope of convenience to be like, well, no, Wong's he's not a slave. But it's also he's
there because he wants to be.
Yeah, but it's an okay way for Stevie to disrespect him when he does.
Slight spoilers for everybody. I will tell you that Wong does get his due towards the end of it. And you actually probably are correct that I think a lot of that probably comes to the MCU.
I will say there's also like...
Because you're not, by the way.
Greg Pak does a great job at sort of beginning to rehab. Like in the modern age, Wong actually becomes a real and actualized person.
Well, and it's also too, you're bringing up the MCU stuff that, I mean, you're not going to cast an award-nominated actor like Benedict Wong in the role of Wong.
And waste him.
Because if you've ever seen Marco Polo on Netflix, Benedict Wong walks all over that series and is astounding. The series, it's mixed, but
it's worth watching for him.
It's worth watching maybe a best of him as Kublai Khan because he is amazing. In it, but that's and you know what? But that's something that's like amazing about adaptation.
That is a strength of adaptation, absolutely.
Because like Benedict Wong is fantastic. Anyways, and also he's really good in What We Do in the Shadows. You haven't seen that?
Yes, he is.
All right, so now we're gonna finally talk about Wong.
Okay.
16 minutes in, no Doctor. Well, we're gonna talk a lot about Doctor Strange. No more Doctor Strange. And now I feel bad. Did I do Wong disservice by having Doctor Strange pop in at the very beginning?
So if anyone is thinking that, I will say it's not appropriate for us to be doing impressions of Wong.
That is true.
So I don't think it was inappropriate.
Okay.
I thought it was a smart move.
All right, cool. I was trying to
for context as well.
I was trying to give everybody context to be like, look, this is what his life was.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if anyone listening has ever been an assistant, you have a sense of what it was like.
Yeah. All right. So fun
Maybe
fact.
that Wong.
Oh boy. All right, let's get some of that Wong in there. All right, so fun fact, Wong's first appearance was in Strange Tales 110 in July 1963. He's a very old character, but he wasn't given a name.
Oh no, I hate this.
until 9 issues later in Strange Tales 119.
Wow.
So he was just Asian manservant.
Eep, Marvel. It was the 60s.
1963.
But that doesn't make it okay.
Now, the last member preceding Wong to serve the Ancient One was his father, Hamir the Hermit, up until the Ancient One's death. And then that is when, of course, Doctor Strange became the Sorcerer Supreme and stuff like that. Now, we're going to talk about Wong's childhood. Wong was born in Kamartaj, which might sound familiar to you, home of the Ancient One. Since Wong was Hamir's first child, his entire childhood was dedicated to the Ancient One. And Hamir presented Wong to the Ancient One when he was only 4 years old. Subsequently, because of this, and because he was the first, the male, he was going to take the legacy.
Yeah.
Wong was sent to a remote monastery away from his family to receive training on how to serve a Sorcerer Supreme, a Master Sorcerer.
I'm truly just imagining him at the Airbender Academy.
That's not a bad guess. On Wong's 10th birthday, his father brought a young couple to the monastery to meet Wong and make a marriage pact. And Wong was betrothed to their unborn daughter. That will come up later. Wong also has a cousin who was training in the occult with aspirations to replace Wong as a servant to Doctor Strange. Now, I just wanted to mention this because that's a fun fact that is only ever mentioned in Doctor Strange the Oath and never brought up again in any other story. So Wong has a cousin that is sort of a backup that we never meet.
That is a deeply monarchical thing to do, right? To be like, you have one and then you have one for safety. Like you always want.
You have the safety.
You always want two young men on hand in case like somebody's plane crashes or whatever.
Yes.
So I actually think that that's like an appropriate detail for this type of legacy.
Now, Wong, when he reached adulthood, the Ancient One sent Wong to the United States to become a servant for his pupil, Dr. Stephen Strange. Wong was the first of his family to ever come to America.
Cool.
And in his first few appearances, again, his only role in the first several issues of Doctor Strange is to answer the door.
Very, very Lurch.
Yep.
Very early Jarvis as well.
Oh, and he prepared Doctor Strange's meals as well.
Yeah, there's never a Wong story where he's not cooking eggs or something like that.
Now, here's a really cool fun fact that is sort of a retcon, but I really love it. And I want to put in here.
Sure.
Apparently, Wong is a master in several different forms of martial arts because the idea is supposed to be that because he is not a sorcerer on the level of Doctor Strange. And also, it depends on the Doctor Strange story that you read. In some stories, they sort of make it... Now it's accepted that Wong does magic.
And that he's good.
And that he's good at magic.
Yeah.
But in some of the older stories, and I'm not going to really talk about this fact that much. In some of the older stories, it was sort of like looked at as like that Wong doesn't use magic. So that's the reason why he's an expert in martial arts, because the idea is that if he knows, kind of like Batman, several different forms of fighting, a demon shows up, Wong would actually be able to put up a fight.
Hence the Kato comparison.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now it's like really accepted that he can do spells and stuff like that. But because of that, it is said that when Wong first showed up in America and over the several years, that Wong has taught Doctor Strange all of these martial arts. And Strange himself has even said that in some areas, he's my servant, and in other areas, he's my master.
That's nice. That's a nice retcon. That's a good retcon.
It is said that I don't have the specific forms, but in a couple of forms, Wong has taught Doctor Strange to become a black belt in a couple of different forms.
Look, let's be very honest. There's no official list of all the forms.
No.
There's a list somebody made on Reddit somewhere, I'm sure, but because it's probably changed every decade with whatever martial art is particular. I'm sure now he knows Krav Maga because it's particularly in vogue.
He probably does.
He probably does.
So as the years went on, Wong began to take a more active role in assisting Doctor Strange in the fight against evil. Doctor Strange would eventually employ Sarah Wolf as his personal secretary. Now, Sarah Wolf is of Cheyenne origin, and she was created by X-Men writer Chris Claremont.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, Sarah grew an attraction for Wong. She was more attracted to him than she was Doctor Strange.
I didn't know Wong had a girlfriend.
And he liked her as well. They never acted on it. So there's a lot of...
That's some of that duty nonsense.
Well, it's where they will, they won't they. Yeah. And Wong always put an end to any possible relationship because, for you see, Aimee Cheng was the child that he was betrothed to when he was a child. And she comes to America. Now, in fact, Sarah at first is very welcoming of Aimee, not jealous at all. And the two actually become best friends. So when Aimee joins the Sanctum Sanctorum, there's sort of this like weird period in Doctor Strange. It's also really cool where it's like there's a cast of characters of Wong, Doctor Strange, Sarah Wolf, and Aimee all living in the Sanctum Sanctorum and all like fighting demonic magic and stuff.
I like the idea of Doctor Strange and his amazing friends. And let me tell you, if I got to write Doctor Strange in Marvel, I would make them a throuple so fast.
Well, I was going to ask.
I'm sure someone's dead, but
that's so funny, actually, because you sort of answer this. I was going to ask you, like, what is your preferred Doctor Strange menagerie? Because, like, do you like him as a solo character? Do you like him just with Wong? Or would you like him like this, where he, like, sort of has, like, a team of 5?
I kind of like I said, I kind of like where it's Doctor Strange and his amazing friends, but also because, kind of like with mutants, it's hard for me to accept that magic characters exist in the same world as the Avengers. It's what I repeatedly say I do not care for about Scarlet Witch, because magic is energy and it is chaos. Mm-hmm. So there's no restrictions. So it's really hard in my mind to put a magic character up next to an Iron Man. Mm-hmm. So I think that by not segregating them, but sort of keeping them in their own bubble, it's a little cleaner. Like, I'm really enjoying the Strange Academy stuff that they're doing in the Marvel Comics right now. Now we're going to date this at the time of this recording. I just think it's a really interesting take on how you can expand out those magic users. So ultimately, yes, I also think it helps for Doctor Strange in particular to make Doctor Strange a little more human, because Doctor Strange can also come across as a real bag of dicks, you know?
In a lot of stories, he can. He can. Now, during a crossover event with the Midnight Suns, this was a team made up of supernatural characters in the Marvel Universe. There's had several different members, but in this version, it was Morbius, the living vampire. You might
Everyone's
have heard him.
favorite.
Caretaker, don't worry about them. Blade, the vampire. Ghost Rider, and Vengeance, who was also another Ghost Rider character. Now, Doctor Strange gets involved with sheltering half the team in protection from the demons known as the Lilin. Unbeknownst to the team, Morbius becomes possessed by the Lilin and uses the trust of Doctor Strange to enter the Sanctum Sanctorum. Now, the Lilin demons are attempting to enter the barrier that Strange uses to protect this home. So, the Lilin demon named Scatter manages to break through with Morbius's help and uses his mental abilities to attack. Doctor Strange tasks himself with holding the stasis field against the Sanctum Sanctorum and the rest of the Lilin demons, and he freezes time to provide an escape route for himself, Wong, Aimee, Sarah, and the Midnight Suns. However, his magic is being manipulated by an unknown force. He's not as strong as he should be. The unknown demon was Sister Nil. She breaks into the Sanctorum, and she immediately drains Aimee's life force, effectively killing her. Or maybe not. I don't know. Now, this happened in Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, Volume 1, Number 60, written by David Quinn and drawn by Melvin Ruby. Now,
I knew one of them was going to be dead, or basically dead, or trapped in a dimension somewhere.
Aimee's dead. Wong blames Strange for Aimee's apparent death because he trusted that Doctor Strange would be able to protect them. This also stems, of course, from Strange's nature of being selfish and arrogant, as we've talked about, and unable to communicate that he needs help because Doctor Strange hid that he could feel that he had a power drain.
Yeah, that happens a lot for convenience, yeah.
So Wong leaves Strange for the very first time, and he lives the Midnight Suns and just says, you guys can deal with the Lilin demons on your own. I don't care.
I mean, honestly, in terms of grieving, it's probably one of the healthier coping mechanisms.
Now, Wong is on his own. And I want to ask you, Ashley, do you think Wong could stand on his own as a character that could have his own solo comic series? And we're going to find out your answer after this. So I'll ask you again, Ashley. Do you think Wong, servant to the Sorcerer Supreme, maker of the wonderful minestrone bisque,
you don't know what a bisque is, do you?
I've heard it on Seinfeld. All right. Do you think Wong could lead his own solo series?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I will put with the caveat of with the correct writer. Because
that's fair of any book, yes.
Yes, because some side characters I don't think could. I think there is enough with Wong, and I think like when writers like Greg Pak, who are really invested in this character, or like in his Doctor Strange Year One story. Where
Did Greg Pak, you brought his name up a couple of times. Did he write a Wong something?
No, he wrote Doctor Strange Year One.
Oh, that's a great book.
And he introduces another sorcerer of Asian descent.
Okay.
Who's, I can't remember his name. I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
It's not his history lesson. It doesn't matter.
And that book came out like 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who's really cool and is like an equal of Doctor Strange. It's very similar to actually what he does in his James Bond run, where he introduces the Korean spy, which I also really love.
Yeah, so it's like Korean Odd Job. Yeah.
And he really, Wong is very funny and very capable under his run. Well, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. He does a really good job writing Wong. And obviously, as an Asian American writer, he has like more investment than a lot of other people. So I know I've evoked him a lot, but I just think Greg Pak would do like an excellent job.
Again, I was just like the amount of times you're bringing him up, I was like, did he write a series that I missed somehow?
I also just think he doesn't get. I don't think in general Greg Pak gets enough credit for like what a good.
That's very correct. That's very correct. But what would you like? Just off the top of the dome?
Yeah.
What would you want the Wong solo series to be?
That's a tough question. I think there would definitely be a really fun issue that could be like, what is Wong's weird life? Like, what is an average day in the life of Wong like? And you could start where he gets up at 4 a.m. because he has to do his maybe Tai Chi practice, and like get his magic ready to go. And then he starts making breakfast, or he wakes up the Eye of Agamotto, and then you see Doctor Strange come in and be like, well, Wong, we need to do this and this and this and this, kind of like we did at the beginning of the podcast.
Head to the Piggly Wiggly.
And he's like, okay. And then you see him like riding the subway, because he takes public transportation as a respectable New Yorker.
Wong only uses magic when he absolutely has
Exactly.
to.
And then you see him at the deli, and then while he's on his way back from the deli, like there's demons flying through the sky, and he heaves a great sigh, and then does some magic and puts them back in their place so Steven doesn't have to worry about, like, I think you could do really fun stuff like that. But I would also love to see him on like a big epic solo adventure, kind of like when you get Alfred, again is the easy comparison, where you get the Alfred story where you're like, this is either the secret history of Alfred or
I love secret history tales of Alfred. They're so cool.
I know, because Alfred is really cool.
There's a book called Nightwing, Alfred's Return, where Nightwing goes to London and you get to learn a little bit about Alfred's acting career, and it's a one shot. It's so good. Yeah,
something like that, or something that would put him on par with the rest of the Avengers, because I think he deserves to be, and he's not yet.
My pitch for Wong would be, I'm going to make a reference that some people will get and some people won't. I don't know if you'll get it. I would give him a quest like Kang in the Kung Fu.
Oh, I understand this.
Where he wanders the wastelands or whatever and going on a search for like objects. I would put him out in the world on his own.
Would you put him in our world, or you put him in another dimension?
In our world. I would put him in our world.
Cool.
Yeah, just so you have some, like, you could throw him in some places that would be very interesting to him.
You could do like some fun historical references with it too.
I'd put him on a quest.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, Ashley, Wong wasn't gone or alone for long, because shortly, literally 5 issues later, I-May comes back.
Oh, good. Thank goodness this is comic books.
Yep, in Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme, Volume 1, number 65. But it's not really her. In reality, this I-May is a demon named Zeus, who is impersonating her. And Wong is fooled and believes that they actually are I-May. The resurrection of I-May is a gift given to Wong by a demon named Salome, who is manipulating him into turning against Stephen, against Doctor Strange. And for his betrayal against Stephen, Doctor Strange, Wong will be rewarded with I-May being fully restored to life. So it's like a little like carrot out there.
Not them using Salome, the biblical reference, to name a demon.
Doctor Strange eventually defeats Salome. And because of that, he sets out to make amends with Wong. Doctor Strange feels a sense of responsibility that he pushed Wong towards his betrayal. And Zeus, the demon pretending to be I-May, can no longer feel Salome's magic and is trying desperately to maintain the illusion of I-May to manipulate Wong because they're not strong enough, basically. And Wong starts to unravel as he feels guilt for his actions in helping Salome and betraying Strange. And he wonders if it is all worth, is his actions worth resurrecting I-May? And Strange basically confronts Wong in person as Zeus panics and flees. And Strange acknowledges that through his ordeals with Salome, he's changed and he's trying to be better. And he offers Wong a position that he's never offered Wong before.
Best friends.
No.
And they exchange friendship bracelets and they braid each other's hair and they swap stickers.
I'll actually hang out with you, Wong. I will. Dr. Strange here.
Oh, welcome back.
Hello.
You just possessed Jason's body, kind of like that demon who brought back Ivy.
You know, every time my name is said, I can just appear into the podcast here. Let's just go. Hold on a second. I'll go away real quick. Hold on. Hey, Ashley, what happened here?
Oh, did you like black out or something?
Yeah,
we should probably get that checked out.
I went to like a land of ice. Oh, hello!
Welcome back.
I'm
I
back.
like that you make a little fairy twinkle. It's really cute.
Yes, it's very pretty. I worked.
I mean, you're pretty, so.
You have to. Ooh, hello.
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 You know, I am a married man, but you're a married woman. But, you know, in the dark dimension, marriage is meaningless.
So here's the fun thing. You're only like performatively married because the person that you're married to is not a citizen of Earth. More on that in like 2 weeks.
Baby, you know my style.
I'm screaming.
Anyways. Yes. You know.
You're going to keep teaching your own history lesson.
Maybe. I'm going to teach Wong. I mean, who knows Wong better than Dr. Stephen Strange?
That's true.
I will say that I did offer him, like, for the first time. I was like, hey, you want to be buds? And he was like, cool. And I was like, we're just going to watch Bonanza all the time.
Did you cuddle?
Maybe. Our hands might have touched in the popcorn bowl.
Is this throuple about to become a quadruple?
Look, there are no...
Or a sing-pull if Clea's involved?
There are no affiliations in the dark dimension. Open your mind.
Imagine if the Sanctum Sanctorum was just like this polyamorous clan of wizards.
Look, in the 70s, it was a happening place. Did you see my bouffant hair?
Absolutely, I did.
Yes. All right, I gotta leave. Ta-ta.
Okay, bye.
Oh, Ashley, I'm back.
I heard you went to the land of ice and snow.
This time, I was just on the Incredicoaster coaster in Disneyland. I was right at the Big Dip.
Not even at Avengers Campus.
No. I think he did that on purpose. I think he was like, I'm not going to send you to Avengers Campus. I'm going to put you on the Incredicoaster coaster.
He was like, you don't need to see why Disney thought Moon Knight was a good addition to this ride. Let's go to the roller coaster.
Well, at least I like roller coasters.
No, I know.
All right, so back to the lesson here. Dr. Strange offered Wong the position of CEO, Chief Executive Officer, in his company because he was running a company at the time. He's running the Stephen Strange Memorial Metaphysical Institute. It was an institution for research into the occult. Who are you going to call? Am I right?
You know, it might have been a 501c3. They might have been able to dodge taxes.
Wong is reluctant.
He's like, I don't have a business degree. I don't want to do this.
Basically.
Like you and me filing taxes.
Ultimately, he decides that he can do some good in the position, but he says that I'm not going to fully trust you, Strange, because you've betrayed me in the past.
Fair. Absolutely
Wong
fair.
does eventually find Zeus, still believing Zeus to be Aimee. And he confronts Strange about restoring this demon into from her Skeletor demon form. So like at the time, Wong sees Aimee as like this demonic skeleton. And Wong doesn't think it's Zeus. Wong is like, no, that's Aimee. That's Aimee.
Yeah, if we use enough magic, she can be fully corporeal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Dr. Strange is just like, okay, I guess it's not Aimee, but all right. And he just says, I will do everything in my power to restore Aimee. And Wong, again, doesn't believe him because, again, his faith in Dr. Strange died with Aimee.
Yeah.
In an attempt to make Wong finally understand and explain that Salome was using Wong's grief to manipulate him, Dr. Strange destroys Zeus right in front of Wong.
Does the opposite of what he promises to do.
Yeah. And through that, it actually is a good thing. Although at the moment, Wong is like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Dr. Strange and Wong are beckoned into the afterlife, and Strange navigates them through that. And there they find that they were pulled in the afterlife by the real Aimee, the real Aimee spirit. And she explains that her soul has been in limbo due to the grief and the love that Wong has endured since her death, and that it is finally time for his heart to know peace, so they can both truly move on. So she can move on to her appropriate afterlife, and so he can move on with his life. Wong is finally able to give a proper goodbye to the woman he loved. And with that, Doctor Strange and Wong's friendship is restored, not only as friends, but in the story,
as lovers.
No, as equals. They are
Good,
finally
good.
Wong is finally acknowledged as an equal in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Punctuated by Strange inviting Wong to dinner, with Wong accepts, and he says, "As long as I don't have to cook."
You sure they're not lovers?
Now, let me ask you this,
Sure.
Ashley. Wong, aside from like young Bucky,
Yes.
is Captain America, is probably one of the closest things we have
Oh, to a sidekick.
to a sidekick in the Marvel Universe. And
He's
we've
also
talked about,
debatably a legacy character with that retcon.
Yep. And we've also talked about, like Marvel Universe doesn't really like sidekicks. But I want to honestly think, do you think he rivals, or perhaps he is maybe even better than Doctor Strange as a hero? And we've talked about like how we think he can hold a solo series, but like if we actually stack them up, do we think in terms of heroic abilities that Wong is a better character than Doctor Strange?
In terms of heroic abilities, yeah, probably. Especially if he's a better martial artist. The interesting thing to me about like the Wong v. Stephen Strange argument is that because Stephen Strange has been the protagonist of a series since the 60s, he has a much broader, brasher, more American personality, which in terms of comics is much easier to translate. Wong is more reserved and snarky, and that can be a little harder to parse in comic books. But like I said, I would love to see a solo series for Wong. So I would say, yeah, he's at least as good as Doctor Strange. There's enough there that I think the comparison is worthy.
I agree with that. Also, it's funny, over the course of this lesson, I came up with another couple of characters that I think they're probably very similar to Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wong, when you think about Sherlock Holmes and Watson in their stories,
it's literally an S and a W as well. That may have been intentional.
I think it was intentional.
Wow.
Because, and I just popped onto that now mid-podcast,
Wow.
because when you think about it, Watson is the better person over Sherlock.
Yeah, Sherlock has no ethics or morals.
Yes. And Watson is just as capable as Sherlock.
Yes, yeah.
Like
he has more practical skills than Sherlock.
Well,
does.
I know you're a much bigger Sherlockian than I am, but I will say that I do think that if you put Watson into several of those mysteries, Watson could solve them. It would take him several days longer.
Yes, I agree.
But I think he could solve every single one of them.
Yes, and Watson has empathy and Sherlock does not.
Yes. and also, like, I know a lot of people are probably like, are you crazy? But like, to me, it's like Book Watson is not the bumbling idiot. Like
he's a medical doctor.
He's a soldier.
Yes. Yes, you're right. That's an invention of the Jeremy Brett television series.
Yes, it is. Where he's like, oh, Sherlock.
Yes. Yeah.
No, he's actually closer to what Jude Law is in the Sherlock Holmes movies.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So let's talk about Doctor Strange: The Oath.
Hey, I know this one.
Yep, written by Brian K. Vaughan with art by the amazing Marcos Martin. Now, in this, Wong discovers he has an inoperable brain tumor. Strange is upset, fails to accept Wong's death, and remembers reading about a potion called Otkid's Elixir.
Great.
It is said to erase what troubles the minds of man. And Strange, who claims to have sworn the Hippocratic Oath because he is a doctor, he says, I will prescribe regimens for the good of my patients according to my ability and judgment at any cost. Now, there is a lot in this story, and I'm not going to go into much detail in the story because I think it is an amazing Doctor Strange story. But rest assured, there is some fighting, there are some corporate entities that comes into this, there's a cool villain, and eventually Doctor Strange chooses Wong over the good that this potion could give to Earth. And I don't want to tell you anything else because I think you should just read the story, damn it. Because it will be in a recommended reading, guaranteed. Ashley, what are your thoughts on the story, just very briefly?
I still think this arguably stands up as the best Doctor Strange story.
I agree.
And I do think that it is because to use a Jason Inman phrase, the story engine, all turns around their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That is what this is about, because ultimately Wong is the most important person in Doctor Strange's life.
Mm-hmm.
Even more than Clea.
I agree.
Certainly in the comic books. So
yes.
Yeah, it's great. If people haven't read, we've put it on enough recommended reading lists.
I think it's been on like every Doctor Strange thing.
At least 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't, please do yourself the service of reading it. It's a great book.
Now, during the superhero Civil War, the New Avengers, who are they, Ashley?
They're New Avengers.
Yes, but like why? Why are they New Avengers?
So Captain America and Iron Man fight, and they are Cap's Avengers.
Basically, yes. They had gone underground in protest of the Superhero Registration Act, and Doctor Strange took them in at the Sanctum Sanctorum. Now, Ashley, do you want to briefly explain what the Superhero Registration Act is in the Marvel Universe?
Yes. I apologize for being intentionally obtuse earlier. The Superhero Registration Act is the U.S. government saying, if you have superpowers, you need to register with us. And they got it wrong. And Iron Man said, sure. And Captain America said, no.
Mm-hmm. Now, Wong served all of these heroes in their house as ably as he could because Doctor Strange had technically rejoined the Avengers. But Wong did not want to be a second-rate Jarvis for a second-rate pile of Avengers. He accepted the position, but there are some times where he didn't really like them being there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Nobody would like this.
And so this is my question to you, Ashley. Do you think Doctor Strange and Wong should be... do you think... Let's just start with Doctor Strange. Should Doctor Strange be in the Avengers, or should he also always be like the side character?
Should always be the side character.
That's kind of what I think, too.
Not a side character. He should always be a solo character, or again, with his magic...
Consultant.
With his magic friends. Yeah, yes. I would like it if he was an auxiliary member, and anytime they came across a magic thing like Wanda, they called him or something like that. But I don't love him as a staple member of the team in the comic books.
I agree. All right, so after some more adventures, Doctor Strange eventually returns to his Bleecker Street Sanctorum, and Wong is providing his sources there. And it is revealed that Wong has kept a secret life from Doctor Strange because Wong has established a sect of magical practitioners that voluntarily take the supernatural harm they cause themselves in order to keep unstable magics from harming the Sorcerer Supreme.
So this is magical self-flagellation.
So basically what this is that every bad spell that Doctor Strange does, he doesn't suffer the consequences. The consequences go to this group of people that
they're
suffer.
Scapegoats. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So that Doctor Strange doesn't get weakened because we need the Sanctum Sanctorum. Because Doctor Strange doesn't know this because he thinks that all this unstable magic is neutralized by the basement of the Sanctum Sanctorum. He doesn't realize that Wong has basically set up this suffering magic pipeline.
He just thinks he's just that good.
Yes, he does. Yes,
How
he does.
like a white guy.
Yes. Then one day, Doctor Strange meets a woman who is standing at his front door who is named Zelma Stanton. Now, Zelma Stanton comes to Strange to see if he can get rid of a parasitic creature, a supernatural parasitic creature growing on her. Strange helps her out while getting to know her. He offers her a position at his home to work as a librarian, which is what her field of study is, and she accepts. And during a quest of collecting magical items, Doctor Strange and Zelma get stranded in Weird World. And Doctor Strange is hit by a poison-tipped arrow and becomes ill. In a last resort, Zelma transfers Strange's illness onto her in order to save them both. And Strange manages to get home and works on a remedy for her condition. His plan is to feed her some magical food that will change her physiology in order to make her more receptive to magic and so that he can cure her. But Wong did not want to put that on Zelma. And Strange manages to save Zelma, and Wong decides, like, I don't like this, you bringing this girl into danger and, like, giving her all this stuff and exposing her to our world when she wasn't wanted to be exposed. And he says, I'm done with this, and he retires. So Wong leaves Doctor Strange again.
Good for him.
So, Ashley.
Yes.
Crazy pitch time, Ashley.
Okay.
If you could add a second to Doctor Strange to replace Wong, any Marvel character, any Marvel area, any Marvel grouping, which character would you add to Doctor Strange and why?
Nico Minoru.
Oh, the Runaway?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Doctor Strange in the Silver Age did take on disciples and apprentices. And some of them were young ladies, kind of in the Wolverine style. And that's just a relationship that I really like and I'm really interested in. And Nico, I think, has been kind of underused. And I think that'd be a cool place to put her.
All right. So eventually, of course, Wong comes back.
Yes.
But he doesn't come back to the same Sanctorum. He comes back into a story.
Okay.
So Mephisto, the Marvel Universe devil, and the person that everybody thinks is every character in the MCU right now.
Yeah.
Mephisto manages to turn Doctor Strange and a few members of the Avengers into Ghost Rider-like creatures.
Oh, yes.
And Wong is approached by the ghost of Doctor Strange's talking dog Bats to help. So Wong brings together a bunch of, basically a new grouping of the Midnight Suns. Blade, Elsa Bloodstone, Iron Fist, Mr. Knight, Dr. Voodoo, Man-Thing, and Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider to form the new Midnight Suns. And Wong is the leader. Wong selected these few because they are without sin, but they instead work with an element of darkness inside them. So they will not be easily turned by Mephisto. Wong takes charge. They venture into Vegas, where the Ghost Rider Avengers are, and the Midnight Suns are tasked to fight off the demons and the Avengers. And they are confronted by the Doctor Strange Ghost Rider, and Wong and Doctor Strange fight. And they have it out. Now, eventually, because it's comic books, his plan is to escape into a realm that isn't quite hell, but is. And there he meets with the new King of Hell. And Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider, is able to ask one last favor. Since the Avengers became Ghost Riders, their souls are just kind of floating around. So Wong asks Johnny to imbue Doctor Strange with the Avengers' spirits so that he can defeat Mephisto. So he does, and Doctor Strange sort of becomes the spiritual version of all the Avengers. So he fights Mephisto, but Mephisto flees before Doctor Strange could give the killing stroke. And of course, everything is saved. All the souls go back. The mystical doors are closed. And we leave as in a scene where Doctor Strange and Wong get to reflect. And as they sit down, Strange tells Wong that he could feel Wong's presence guiding him, even when they were blasting each other with supernatural energy. And Wong tells Strange, "Of course I was there, Stephen. You and I quote, we have been through a great deal together, and we will continue to do so. I'm afraid whether we want to or not." And Wong decides to stay in Las Vegas to keep an eye on the spirits and all this stuff like that. But he tells Stephen as he hugs him that he intends to return to the Sanctum Sanctorum at some point. And that he does, of course, in the death of Doctor Strange, which has recently happened, which I do not want to spoil. And Ashley will talk a little bit about in her upcoming Clea episode. Yes, that's right. We are going to do a Clea Doctor Strange Geek History lesson. But that is it for Wong right now. That is the Wong Geek History lesson, everybody.
Wow, honestly, there was more there than I thought there would be.
Surprising everybody.
Good for Wong.
All right, let's get to the recommended reading.
Yes, which is where if you have enjoyed this lesson as much as I have and you want some more Wong stories, you can go to geekhistorylesson.com/recommended reading. We have great little widgets there. You click on them, you buy the books you want, and you expand your mind.
The first one, of course, is Doctor Strange, The Oath. We've talked about this. It is mainly a Doctor Strange story, but he does everything in that story based on his friendship to Wong. Go read it. Go read it. Go read it. The second one is Doctor Strange by Jason Aaron, Volume 1. That is the one we talked about where Wong returns to the Sanctum Sanctorum and he meets Zelma. And it's a really good, I believe it's drawn by Chris Bacalo.
It is, yep.
So it's a really, really great story. That's the classic one that you've seen all the covers where Doctor Strange is holding an axe.
Yep.
Which is a very interesting look for Doctor Strange. I kind of like him with an axe. And then lastly, this Doctor Strange Damnation is my third choice. This is where it's Vegas and Wong in charge of the Midnight Suns.
Cool.
So that is why I wanted to give you a little bit of Wong in charge. So, all right, let's get to the teaching tweet.
Which is Jason's favorite part of the podcast, wherein, I don't know, however many characters there are on Twitter or less, he's going to recap everything he just taught you about Wong. And we share this every Tuesday on our official Twitter at GHL Podcast.
His best friend is also his best enemy. I hope he retires to a beautiful mountainside because Wong deserves all the vacation days he can get for putting up with Dr. Stephen Strange.
Absolutely fair.
All right, Ashley, let's get into the honor roll. That's where if people go over to Apple Podcasts and they leave us a 5-star review, we will read whatever they write on the podcast as their thanks for bumping us into the Apple algorithm. And Ashley, who is joining the honor roll this week?
So we have two amazing people joining us this week. The first is Pink Knight 14, love that name, who says, "Hello, professors.
Hello.
I absolutely love the show. I have been listening for about 3 years and I don't regret it once. I think both of them are very funny and I love the concept of being a school. I always learn something new and if I don't like the idea of me already knowing. Sorry. I love the conversations.
We
the
don't copy edit
ideas,
there.
And no, it also could just be me reading it wrong.
Sure.
It's not a comment on anybody. I love the conversation, the ideas, and the concepts behind the wonderful and funny group. This is truly made a community, and I truly enjoy it. And then 4 heart emojis, a smiley emoji, and 2 book emojis. The 2 of them always keep me on my toes when it comes to movies and books and comics that I've never even heard of. I enjoy learning so much in such a short period of time every week. Thank you. Complaint. And they are also joined by Mary Yams, who says, I love you, GHL Pod, with a bunch of exclamation points. I am so glad I found this show. I was recommended the Booster Gold episode, and the rest was history. Jason and Ashley really know their stuff, and I love hearing them talk about my comic book faves, whether it's info that's new to me or something I already knew. I have a couple ideas for episodes. 1, Tangent Comics. I discovered them thanks to the show and would love to hear a GHL do a breakdown of the whole series. Oh, you're going to love this one. 2, Amalgam Crossovers.
Oh!
The 90s DC Marvel crossovers were such a wild time, and I want to know everything about them. You don't, my friend. DC and Marvel bring it back. 3, Lady Blackhawk. Zinda Blake is one of my favorite DC characters of all time. I was very happy when she was discussed, albeit briefly, in the Birds of Prey episode because she's so often excluded from the conversation despite being the person who named the team. I think she's a character with a fascinating history who is criminally underused in comics. She's such a good woman, out of time storyline, and I wish more people knew about her. I also read her as a lesbian, and there's a conversation to be had about the role that lesbians played in the military in World War II, but that's neither here nor there. Keep up the great work. This show is amazing, and I recommend it to all my comics friends.
Oh, great review.
So thank you, Mary Yams and Pink Knight 14, for your thoughtful reviews, and welcome into the Teacher's Lounge. What's going on in there, Jason?
Oh, well, research assistant Diego Nunez is in there. And he's teaching macrame today. So macrame. He loves the macrame. So
wow.
Go enjoy Diego teach the macrame. Everybody, don't forget that you can follow and subscribe to us on all the places that you listen to on podcasts and Spotify and SoundCloud. Don't forget, actually, over at geekhistorylesson.com, we have a blog that is a new post every single week. That is really awesome. You should go check that out. And Ashley, where else can they find us on social media?
You can find us at geekhistorylesson.com, of course, facebook.com/geekhistorylesson, on Twitter at GHL Podcast, or on our new Instagram at Geek History Lesson.
Yes, and don't forget to go check us out and support us at patreon.com/Jawiin. That's Jawiin. We're going to be talking about which MCU characters should join the Avengers, which MCU supporting characters in honor of Wong. You can follow Ashley on Twitter and Instagram at Ashley V. Robbins, and you can follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at Jawiin. That's Jawiin. And for the hashtag stick around, Ashley, we're going to be talking about, where we make sure you stuck through all the plugs, would you ever want to see Wong as a married man in the Marvel Universe to contrast sort of the eternal single life of Doctor Strange? Like, would it be an interesting tack to see Wong and his wife in the Sanctum Sanctorum?
Sure, or Wong and his husband, or Wong and his demon.
I only say wife because we know of Aimee.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah. Sure, why not? I think more superheroes should be paired up, honestly.
Oh, yeah?
I do. I think it's, and I think we should stick to that. I think it's very tired to, like, marry people and unmarry people. And it's weird that there are more single superheroes than married. But I get the idea that it's appealing to the youth market. I guess, but also, like, Sue and Reed have been married for like 1,000 years.
They've been married since the 60s.
You know.
You would think it would be 50-50. Like, you think like half of them would be married and half of them would be single.
Like, it makes sense to me to keep maybe some of your younger characters single.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think there's something to be said, and I think that's what's interesting about Sue and Reed, and I think that's what's interesting about, like, Scott and Jean. I think there's something to be said for what it is like to evolve a marriage through those, you know, wild circumstances.
Well, I also think I say it still to this day that I think Spider-Man should always be married. She'd be married.
I agree.
They should have evolved the storyline.
Imagine your character could bloom and grow in such a way.
I mean, to me, Spider-Man, for myself, has always been one of these characters, kind of like Dick Grayson, where it's like we've slowly been watching him grow up.
Yeah.
And to me, honest with you, there was that point where I was like, yeah, when they were talking about giving him a kid, I said, yes, give him a kid.
It's a little silly with these characters who, like, every 10 years, they're like, just kidding, Dick Grayson is 21. And you're like, Dick Grayson is 30 and he's married to Barbara Gordon. I will brook no argument.
All right, but we want to see Wong as a married man.
We do. I'd definitely be interested in seeing it.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Geek History Lesson. I am Jason. My wife has never been a demon in them.
I am Ashley Victoria Robinson. And Professor Jason, would you please dismiss the class?
Yes, class is dismissed. I came back.
Welcome.
By the way, I popped him on the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. It's a very tough ticket to get at Disneyland, and I hope he enjoys it.
I hope so, too.
Let's find out. I did not.
Hey, at least you got to skip the queue.
Oh, I didn't. That's the bad thing.
Oh.
That's why I didn't enjoy it. Yeah. Thanks,
fair.
Doctor Strange.
Thanks for nothing.
Bye, everybody.